right, guys. So, welcome to our first episode of the Extra Scoop with Peyton. I am your co-host, and I want to introduce you to our new host, Peyton Fender. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It is so good to be back.
Yes, I'm excited. And it was really cool talking to you about this over the weekend at Capital Classics, and also talking to your dad too. He was telling me how excited you are about this opportunity, and for us just to hang out and talk and share just a different side of sport martial arts, and to give your perspective on everything. And I know we had a fun
hmm
time talking about that last time, and really being able to share more of the female perspective, because there is so much going on at sport karate events, right? And even
Yeah.
though, yes, I'm out there actively there, but I'm competing as well, and there's just so much. Um, First off, before we get going, um, we got a lot of big things going on in the sport karate world that I think are important to share. Tomorrow, um, one of our own, Chad Cannon, will be featured in the Karate Combat in the Kumite, the first episode of Kumite. So make sure you guys go to karatecombat.com and support him. I've known this kid since he was probably 10, 11 years old, fighting on the NBL. And then now, we've seen him for years on Team Gypsy. So excited to see him and tell his story. And then also one of your best friends and two of the best right now in our sport, Sarah Campbell and Haley Glass, will be competing, battling head to head at 12 p.m., I believe, Eastern time on CBS Sports for the Adrenaline Show. So, um, Friday, actually last Friday, the first two episodes were shown. So that was while we were at Capitol. So I don't think any of us got
hmm
to see it live, but there's been a lot of replays. I don't know if you've seen it at all, but
Not, I mean, I've seen like clips of it on Instagram and stuff, but I haven't seen the actual episode.
yes, I haven't either as well. So those are both two exciting things for our sport, as they have big followings, and this is that next step. So, and it's people that we love, respect, and support. So go out and support them, guys. And also just thank you to virtualfightour.com for everything that you guys do to support us. August 26th is the Battle of the Dojos. And congrats to Bailey Murphy for winning the last man standing at the Capital Classics. So, Peyton, this was your first Capital Classics. I did not know that until I was talking to your dad. So, what was that like for you, going to Capital Classics this time?
So going to see, I want to say the experience in itself is always like the best part, but being able to see, all of the fighters and all of the women and all of the just people that you don't normally see because you only see them when you travel.
Right.
So that experience in itself is awesome. This tournament also I brought out a lot of fighters that we haven't seen in a while. So that was also a really good experience. And then after the tournament, we always go eat. And then this time we were out until like 2 o'clock in the morning, just going to the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, all of that stuff. So the competition was great, and then the city that it was in was also a really good experience too.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh man, I should have done that. I should have done that. That was really cool. For me, this is my closest tournament, for me. So I've been to
Mhm.
this tournament probably more than any besides the Battle of Atlanta. I've actually probably been to Battle of Atlanta more than the Capital Classics, which is crazy. But um, yeah, I mean, and it's changed from different places. It used to be like in the middle of DC, Washington DC, or even one year at like George Mason University. So many different
Mhm.
places, but the Gaylord National Convention Center is awesome. It's huge,
Oh, that
spacious.
hotel
It's
was
probably,
amazing.
so it's probably one of the best venues for our sport, um, and also having it where the finals is already set up. Right, that's always a
Mhm.
highlight. That's always a good thing where it's separate from that. So um, you also brought, which you guys usually do from Florida Sports, have some underbelt competitors and things from your school. But they all did well. And what is that like
Yes.
going and being that coach and instructor there?
It's something so surreal because I had it as a kid. So being able to step into what my coach experienced as a coach and stepping into their shoes and watching like my students grow and watching them compete and watching them win and just the happiness in their faces makes all of the struggles that we all have in training worth it.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's really cool. I know for me, it's been just a crazy year because I've been working with more competitors on the tour, right? And so getting to see them grow and from where we started from there, and then also have a few of my competitors um, from my school. So having both of them there, seeing the different dynamics. You know, for me, I still have a bunch of my underbelts that travel at in tournaments in North Carolina and Virginia. So we have a big tournament in a couple of weeks. So I'll have a big group there. So it just seems like every event's something different, right? And you have the
Oh
same
yeah,
thing with your
every
teams in Florida, right?
yes. Yeah. The
Yes, Peyton does support the underbelts, as you and your dad were right there for the underbelt grand championships, which is something I think also that the team as Revolution does a great job as well, being there and supporting the future.
definitely the talent in the underbelt division is insane. It's definitely because you see how hard they work and then watching them put their talents on display is awesome.
Yeah, I know it was unfortunate that the stage wasn't set up for them, but I actually kind of like the vibe that we had there with that close quarter, and it was like you had that big, just everyone surrounded them, kind of like when you see like the junior runoffs, right? Honestly, the junior
Yes.
runoffs for forms of weapons is one of the most exciting things, especially at different tournaments. Like for me, I always think Ocean State because they have that one room and everyone's just swarmed there and just loud. And I feel like that was kind of what the Capitals underbelt experience was like this year.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. However, I want to see them show the underbelts more
Yeah.
because they spend the money, they spend the travel money, they do the hard work too. And I think having that on display at tournaments, having them on stage, it makes their experience, it enhances their experience too.
Right, right. I always liked so for my tournament I would either have them presenting awards, all the grand champions, or we would do a demo, a big like underbelt grand championship demo where all of them did a little snippet, like a section of their forms and stuff. Some way to just to get them up there to experience it, without
Yeah,
having so much time, right? Because it's hard to fit everything in.
it is.
Um,
Yeah.
so, all right. So, get us going with what is going on in the women's, just fighting divisions. There's a lot of change that's been happening this year, and especially over the past month.
Oh yeah.
So,
The
go ahead.
the so I was surprised to see a lot of fighters that I have not seen in a few years, like Elizabeth Rillard,
Oh, yeah, that was a big
Kayla.
one.
Those were big surprises. Was not expecting to see either of them there. I know America has been hinting that Lily was going to be coming back, but I don't think any of us expected her to be at Capital.
Right.
So
I didn't
that was
expect that.
awesome to see. No,
Yeah,
I didn't expect her to be there, but
no.
having them back and just I looked up to Kayla as a kid, as a
Right.
junior. I would watch
Yeah.
her fight when we were on Velocity together. I'd watch her fight and I would look up to her fighting because I was going to be me the one day. I was going to be in that spot. So it was awesome to see her back and see her, just dominating all her fights.
Right. Definitely, definitely. And I think that brought a whole nother level with the team fighting as well, right? Which we saw them make it to
Definitely.
the finals. Because talking to other people and if people don't know the main gang, all of us, we have a texting group and we do it's like, all right, so who's the team that has the best shot, right? Who has this, who has that, and honestly, for us with Team Revolution, you and Yamina have won probably the most team fighting titles in a while over the past few years. And Yamina is out right now, kind of getting ready and coming back. And so it's like, all right, so who's next? Who else has that shot, right? So
Hmm.
it was cool to see Kaya and Lidley back at it. So,
Yeah,
and of
and it
course
was it was
we know
it was
JPM. Yeah.
yes, that's what I was gonna, the fights during the Friday night fights and then the Saturday daytime fights. It's watching one person win and then the other person will win the next day. So it's like
Yeah.
there a lot of us are so evenly matched that it can really go either way.
Yeah, that was what I was actually gonna ask. I was like, what is the vibe like? Like, again, in here I just have women's teams, but really for all of it, right? Because
Hmm.
like you said, it is so it can go either way. And one of the things I think that we talked about at US Open was that, there was 16, 17 open weight, and every fight, was pretty good, right?
Yeah.
And that there were just good people throughout. It wasn't, what you just didn't know who was gonna win it really overall, right?
You didn't know who was
So
gonna come out on top.
exactly. So
Really in this, it can be anyone's game.
yeah, and so we saw that with really let's see, let's break down how open weight happened. Um, if you want to go through the brackets or just like the stories that you felt like with open weight or some of the
For I
notable
want to say
fights.
the number at Capital for open weight was a decent number. We had 15,
Okay.
which has definitely is improvement from the past couple years because we were not running at these numbers like when I first started in the women's division. I think
Right.
the most we ever capped out at was like 10.
Okay.
So seeing this division grow to begin with is awesome. But the fights at Capital, every fight was so good. Every fight was so good. There was 15 of us, so a couple of us got buys, there was like six fights in the first bracket. I ended up having to fight someone I train with from Florida in the second round
Oh,
because
right.
we were at both the bottom fight. And we both
Okay.
won our fights, so we both had to fight in the second round. So that kind
So
of sucked because obviously we wanted to go to the end, but
share her name so that way we can put all the names out there of who.
her name is Keely Kernan.
Keely Kernan. All right.
Keely
Awesome.
Kernan.
Yes.
She's fairly new to NASCA, but she's definitely going to make a name for herself.
Yes. I believe we actually just put out a video of her last week, of her
Yes, it
kicking
was at
people in the
Battle.
head at battle.
Yes, of
Yes.
her kicking people in the face. Yes.
Yes. So
And
that's
then
awesome.
I want to say Kayla's fights were all really good. Katana always puts everything out on the mat, and she's crazy. I love watching her fight. I
Okay.
think,
Awesome. Who
yeah,
was
just
the final four? Who was the final four for women's?
the final four for women's open weight. I think it was Keely, actually, Katana, Katarina, and I want to say Lily. If it wasn't
Okay.
Lily, it was Kayla. I
All
don't
right.
really remember. I just definitely know Katana and Katarina were the final two.
The final two, right?
Yeah.
And what was the score of that one? Because you and I had talked actually right after that happened, and you were saying that just Katana didn't fight the same that she was the rest of before that, right?
I don't think she necessarily, it wasn't that she fought the same. It's Katarina's hard to fight.
Exactly.
She's she's hard to fight. And anybody I think who steps in front of her is gonna have a difficult time getting around her leg, figuring out her height, and just all of that stuff that goes into fighting in general. It's
Right.
like enhanced when you fight someone tall and you're like, 5 foot nothing. Like me.
Correct. Yeah. Exactly.
So she always puts everything on the mat, and I think just fighting Katarina is something that like all of us have a difficult time with. No matter like where we're at in our training, no matter where we're at anywhere, it's fighting her is difficult. So
Yeah.
They both put everything on the mat, and I think the final score was probably like Katarina won by maybe one or two, if I remember correctly. So it
Okay.
wasn't that far
All
off.
right. All right. And then in teams, what was the vibe like in teams? What was everyone feeling as far as seeing that? Because again, when we saw, all right, now we have Katana and Katarina together. Uh,
Yes.
It's pretty intense,
Oh
right?
man, I was talking to Hakeem about this before we even went into Capital. Like whenever they first got announced,
Yeah.
I was like, wow. I was like, now we have Katana and Katarina on a team. That's a stacked team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
That's insane.
because yeah, Katana is a great fighter. Katarina is tall. She knows how to use her leg. Katana's fast. They both kind of like bounce off of each other.
Right. Exactly. And honestly, the way we've seen, even in this situation this weekend, we see Katarina beat Katana in open weight, and then the next day, uh, Katana beats her, right? Or takes that spot, right?
Yeah,
That spot.
the for the
Right.
for the overalls, I think Katarina fought Lily.
Okay. Katarina
Not for the
fought.
overall,
Okay. All
for
right.
the middleweight grands. Katarina fought Lily.
Okay. And then Katana was in the other one
And
for
then
that,
Katana
right?
was in the other one fighting, I think she fought Kayla
All right. All right. So we're
for the
seeing,
light grades.
and so we're seeing that Diamond is bringing a killer team as well, right? And wanting to push that. So that was awesome.
Definitely.
Really see Lily back, Kayla back, both of them back. Um, and and I mean, I think in the women's, in the men's, we saw this straight up versus JPM kind of rivalry, right? Uh, and this weekend it was Diamond and JPM. What other but again, I mean, I don't think it's going to always be like that. There's so many great females. There's so many great teams. I know that Revolution is going to be pushing and wanting to knock on that door to win that. Who are some other teams that you look at and say, okay, wow, they can do this?
I would definitely say uh, Brianna and Tahira, as well
Right.
as Alexi and Beatrice. Those are the first two
Yes,
that
that's a
come to
great team.
mind in thinking of competition wise. Because there's usually Tahira and Brianna, Beatrice and Alexi, and then you have Katana and
And also
Katarina.
Cassandra's back.
Who? What?
Isn't Cassandra back as well?
Yes, Cassandra.
Yeah.
It was Cassandra and Alexi at US Open.
It just,
That
yeah.
was a good one too.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good, I mean, that could be, they can kind of go back and forth. Yeah. Or should I
Yeah,
say
I
he
was
didn't
looking at
bring
Rashad's comment.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, so I mean, there's so many, it's going to be interesting to see who goes to Amerikick. And then of course, how is it in the rest of the year with Diamonds and Pan Ams and Toronto on
Mhm.
how the rest of that ends. And also even who, do we see some more international, do we see, JPM go overseas, more? Do we see maybe Bristol being a big deal like it was last year? There's so
I
many
plan on
going
going to
on.
Bristol.
You are going to go?
My mom is having me choose between Portugal and Bristol, but I'm probably leaning more towards Bristol.
Okay.
So
Got it.
most likely going to be at Bristol again this year for sure.
Awesome. That's great. That's great to hear. Um, and let's see what that last comment was. Oh, yeah, Michelle, you're right. Yeah, Team United always has a solid team as well when they come out. I definitely
Definitely.
that.
Yeah, I agree as well.
So what did you think of the final fight for women's overall for with Lily versus Katana?
The I unfortunately I didn't get to see it. We had left before,
Okay.
but I am going to definitely watch it. I'm interested to see I'm interested to see how Katana fought her
Right.
because during the daytime in my division I lost to Lily. So
Okay.
I'm
All right.
definitely
That's
going to be looking at maybe a game plan or just something to, further my fighting as well as to see like how they fought each other.
right. And so on your end for this weekend, what did you notice? Maybe some things that you want to improve, or what did you notice that just stood out from the weekend of the women's fighting?
So my biggest thing from the weekend to take away is confidence. I know I'm not the only one, but taking off on people and just trying to think and not overthink while you fight and help your confidence out. That's something that's difficult for me.
Okay.
So I tend to overthink or lack confidence when it comes to.
Oh, don't know what happened there. Hello? Are you there?
Did it come back?
I don't see your face. I hear you though.
Oh no. Oh, hold on. There we go. Whoops.
All right, you can go ahead. You're talking about confidence?
Yes, so my biggest thing this weekend was confidence. But
Okay.
I would have to say watching everyone else fight, everyone's takeoff was looking fast. The kicks were all landing. Everyone's kicks looked amazing. But yeah, I would say I know I'm not the only one, but I would say probably the biggest takeaway for the weekend for me was definitely confidence.
Okay. Awesome. That's good to know. And also I think it's important for others, especially the junior competitors, to hear as well, you know.
Mhm.
Um, it's not just them, you know, and they look up to us, but they also need to hear us be real as well, right? That we
Yeah.
have those things that we need to improve on. Because honestly, I'm the same way. Like this weekend, that was for me. It was just remembering who I am, right? Remembering that, like you're here for a reason. So stop thinking about all the other outside things or reasons why it may not happen. Just get out there and just enjoy it. Do what you love, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, listen to Dad as well. Trust your leg as well. um, that's funny. All right. Did you catch any of the form stuff with the females this weekend? I mean, obviously your best
My
friend out there.
favorite, of course, yes, I love watching her. She's one of my favorite people in the world. However, my favorite division, aside from watching Haley compete, my favorite division was the women's Korean challenge.
Okay. Yes.
Aside from all the fighting, aside from all, it was the women's Korean challenge.
It was pretty epic, right?
Oh, it was insane. It was
Yes,
insane watching them be so focused and then watching them cross in the middle of their forms and not miss a beat.
it was
It just
crazy.
it was insane. It was so good.
Yeah, it was completely different than last tournament. You know, we kind of flip flopped. So women went first at the battle, and then we went next at the battle, right?
Hmm.
And the way our forms went at the battle, Billy and I kind of were like staring down at each other, right, and kind of alternating. And then this time we were a little closer. Mats were a little bit tighter, and we
Hmm.
actually went almost a different method as the women did. It was almost like, okay, I'm going to hold here and see how long until you decide to go, right? And it's kind of both of us were doing that to each other. And then the women, they were completely crossing back and forth and didn't change their timing at all. And I
No.
really was going to mess up and hit each other. It was really cool though. It was almost like they didn't even notice each other being there, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Sitting and watching, I'm sitting with my dad and I'm sitting with Keely and I'm sitting there and I'm like, how are they gonna pick who won? Because both of their forms looked amazing.
Right. Yeah, it was definitely hard. And it's becoming, I feel like, even though only the second tournament, but it's becoming one of the highlights of the night show. And I think, there are some promoters that don't want to do the head to head. And I think that that's what has made it stand out, right?
Oh, 100%. I think they should do that in traditional challenge as well.
Exactly. Exactly. And
Have the
so,
two go head to head
yep.
it would be crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how they do it in the AAU circuit for karate and for taekwondo. And so it's not like we have examples of it working, right? In
Mm-hmm.
this outside of
Yeah.
NASCAR. So it's not like we're the first one trying something and, oh, we don't know, that's just a big risk. No, it works
Mm-hmm.
everywhere else. And it's kind of like what I told all of them. If you're worried about time, let's just put all of them every round head to head, because I watched 2,500 competitors do it in one day, every division, going, and they finish in a good time. So we can make it
Yeah.
work with 6 divisions. So, but
Exactly. Another thing that was cool about the night show is watching all of the young kids,
yeah,
watching all of
yeah.
the juniors.
There was a lot of cool ones that got first time, opportunities. I know for me, I was excited to see Zeke Gomez win his first overall.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
so super excited for him. Even it was his first time actually making it to that. I believe he might have been in for U.S. Open, but his first time winning a grand and then getting the stage for that. So
Oh
pretty
yeah, his form looks so good. His
yeah,
form looked amazing.
it did. Um, and yeah, I mean, so many great competitors, juniors, and I thought that they did a good job. Capitals, honestly, the finals is usually very long. It's just the way it is. Trying to, but they did a good job at having a pre-show of doing their demos and everything
Mm-hmm.
first, instead of making it all within and everything like that, right? So I thought overall a great event. As far as some things to improve, we talked about this Monday. It was just scheduling. I felt like things just conflicted.
They did, and one thing that I wish they would, because this isn't the first time, but this weekend they had the women's forms division and then the fighting division in completely different rings.
Yes, yeah, yeah, and that
And
yeah,
that
that can
it doesn't make any
yeah,
sense because then you have these women that are still doing their form, and as we're calling them to like come to fight. So I feel like having them all in the same ring and just running it the way you would run a normal like 13 division. You have all the forms and you have all the fighting.
right, right,
That's the way it should be for the adults and the black belts as well. You have all the forms and all the fighting in the same ring.
right, exactly, yeah, and the thing is, splitting it up, by the ages and doing it that way, because I know on Friday it was like 18 all the way up to 60 and up were all in one ring. And now from what I
Yes.
heard, there was some judging issues and they couldn't get everybody there. So, and they just had to adjust, which happens, but I think for me, that was the biggest thing from this weekend, was that, as far as things to fix. So
Yeah, definitely scheduling issues and just certain things like organization.
yes, I agree, Angel. If Peyton and her family held a tournament, it would be good. I agree. I would definitely agree on that one.
It's not a bad idea.
Sometimes not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. All right. So Peyton, thank you so much for joining in. And guys, this is what we're gonna bring you, is more of an insight, a woman's insight onto everything going on. So what we are shooting for is the second Wednesday of every month. So we will be, and then, as you know, the more you guys say, hey, we want Peyton back, we'll try to figure it out, make it work. But it's a pleasure talking to you, hanging out. And I'm going to tell you as well, I'm excited to be teammates with you as well.
Yes, me
So I
too.
think there's a lot of great things in the future for just all of that. So we're excited to have you
Yes.
on Main Gang and also Team Revolution. So thank you so
Super,
much.
super excited to be part of this. I'm definitely grateful for the opportunity.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you guys, and this is the first episode, and I'll let Peyton start thinking and planning for all of her taglines and things that she wants to say. All right, guys, thank y'all so much, and we will see you next time. Catch you guys Monday for Inside Scoop.